A father's search for his daughter leads him to some dark truths. But how truly dark was the film? And a child finds out what kin means to him, plus a space gun. We discuss this and more on today's Real Review, so stay tuned.
Welcome to the Real Review.
Welcome to the Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. I'm here with Matt. Drive it like you stole it, hey.
Hey.
That's a tie-in.
I love that song, actually.
I still have it on my phone.
I know, I listen to that song. My kids like that song.
It's a great one. Every once in a while, I'll just be driving down the road, and I'm like, I want to jam a little bit.
It's a good song.
Put that one on there,
it's a good song. Sing Street, you guys. Sing Street.
Yeah.
Hey.
There's a tie-in from one of our films.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was making that point out too early. That's good. Good tie-in. I like
Thank
that, Joel.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, and everybody, I am here with Joel Cunningham. That's my. That's what I've determined. Joel's word for meh is he'll just go eh.
I'm like It's more.
No, it's more elongated. Like eh.
I sound like I'm in pain or something. I don't know what that is.
That's your version of meh. It's a painful meh.
It's a painful. Whenever
it's like meh is
pain.
dying.
I don't know. That's not what's going through my head, at least when I'm saying eh.
Okay, well that's what I think of. I think of the meh emoji dying.
Okay. Well, there you go. Welcome to the Meh Podcast, or the Podcast. We like to talk about films occasionally, and we talk about some other stuff here on the podcast. Just a reminder, kind of how this works. Matt tends to be a bit more, as you could probably already tell a little bit, maybe more of the emotional type fan perspective. Tends to just
Thank you so much for letting me be on this show with you, Joel.
Yeah, there you go. So he tends to be more like this, and I tend to be more of the kind of guy, more the meh kind of guy. When it comes to films, I tend to be very, logically oriented, very structurally based.
You have a cold heart.
I do. My heart I need to go through the transfer. What is that? The Grinch Stole Christmas. No, the Grinch Stole Christmas transformation.
They need to grow 3 sizes.
Yeah, somebody made a good point, interesting point the other day. The Grinch actually never had a problem with Christmas. He actually had a problem with people. And I can relate and I can understand.
Okay.
He had a people problem, not a Christmas problem.
Joel the Grinch Cunningham.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just kidding. So that's what we do. We give you kind of our perspectives, our opinions on films and TV when we talk about TV, and then they combine to give you what we think is a real perspective and thought for film and television. And we're on a journey. I'm going to remind you all, we're still learning about film and television and stuff and putting our opinions and studies together. And we're inviting you to join us on that journey. So, Matt, why don't you give our listeners, while we're getting started, some different ways to get connected?
Yeah, real quick. Y'all can get connected with us a number of different ways, but you can do it all at one site, which is realreviewmedia.com. That's our website, which will connect you to all of our social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, which is at realreviewmedia, and youtube.com/therealreview. We try and get some content up there when we can, and all that fun stuff. Also, email us if you have some questions or if you want us to review something special or if you have a thought about what we're talking about. You can do that at realreviewmedia@gmail.com. Boom, done.
Boom, perfect. Well, with that then, why don't we get into talking about some actual films?
Let's do it.
We've got 2 films we're going to be talking about today. One is a film called Searching, which actually came out for us, I think, maybe like a week ago
It was limited release.
Was it? Okay.
But it came out wide this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then mine is kind of a limited release. It's playing a lot of theaters, but it's just not playing a ton of showings. A film called Kin. So I'll talk about that. Why don't you start off? Talk a little bit about this film, Searching.
Searching. Yeah. So let's get into Searching. So the synopsis is: after his 16-year-old daughter goes missing, a desperate father breaks into her laptop to look for clues to find her. I don't know if I always agree with these synopses.
Yeah, they're not always super accurate. I'm not sure who puts them in there always.
Exactly. So it stars John Cho as David Kim, Sarah Son, and what's her face from Deborah Messing. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other people in there as well. But more so, this is a movie about a father just trying to figure out what happened to her daughter. So that's the basic gist of it. And what's really interesting about this movie is that in the similar vein, this is a terrible comparison because those movies aren't that good. It's in a similar vein as the movie Unfriended was filmed all from the perspective of like a computer screen and different windows open within the computer screen. This is filmed in a similar way.
Yeah.
Most of it takes place on a computer screen, but it doesn't just stop at that. It also goes to like news broadcasts and different like camera angles and different things like that are all related to the computer.
Yeah.
It was really, really well done.
Okay.
That part of it. I will say this. I went in with mild expectations, and this movie kind of blew me away in a good way. It was actually very enjoyable. I was really intrigued the whole time. As a mystery, this movie excels. I was locked in. There's some cool twists that I was like, things like that. Exactly. It kind of takes you on a little bit of a ride, but I really enjoyed this movie. For the production quality, there's not like a lot of characters in this film. And it was just really interesting, and there's some like good computer humor and stuff, especially like John Cho's character. He's a dad in this, and he kind of has the ignorance of a father when it comes to technology.
So he's kind of learning the tech as he's using it, sort of?
Some of it, not all of it, but it's actually pretty funny in some of the things that he does. I was in a theater with a friend of mine, and we were laughing at things I don't think anybody else was laughing at. I don't know why, but I was like, that's funny. That's a good joke, and it was on purpose, but. This movie was really enjoyable.
Huh. It's actually surprising. I'm not gonna lie. When it looked a little bit like.
I looked at. It's got like a 91% on.
Really?
On Rotten
Tomatoes. I actually haven't checked. I haven't checked the updated stats on there.
Oh, that was as of a couple of days ago. But I was very surprised at this film.
Yeah.
It was a good time, and I don't. So let me just say this. I don't think I have any negatives per se. I will get into what I think maybe might be a negative in a second, but I think positively, I think the acting was great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Deborah Messing in anything in a really long time. I thought she did a great job. And John Cho was excellent. He plays the father of a teenager really well.
Yeah.
And just kind of all the stereotypes and some of the cliches that go along with that. The mystery element was really well. All the dramatic beats were done really well. The girl who plays Margot, which is the girl that disappears. Excellent. And it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I was able to relate to it more because I have kids and my heart was feeling for this guy, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of a surprise. It's not an excellent movie, but I think it was really good.
Yeah.
And if I had to say anything negative about it at all, it would be that the rewatchability is not there.
Is a big portion of it the mystery?
Yes.
And once you kind of get that resolved,
then you're like, okay. Yeah. Well, it doesn't make the movie any less interesting. It just means like I'm not going to want to sit down and like rewatch it all again because the mystery and intrigue isn't there anymore. And that's okay. You know, a movie doesn't have to have rewatchability. For me, it's a big factor in how I rate movies. Mm-hmm. But because I like to be able to do that. Like, so for example, A Monster Calls. Excellent movie. Mm-hmm. Excellent movie. I graded it really high. The rewatchability in that movie for me is not there because it's a super like kind of sad movie. Mm-hmm. Same with Patriots Day. I love that movie and Wind River and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna rewatch those movies. Like, hey, you know, it's a Saturday afternoon. Let's get some guys together and watch Wind River. You know, that's not like something that I would do.
Yeah.
Same with this movie.
I will say there's very few movies I might do that. Like, let's get the guys. I mean, maybe Die Hard or something. You know? Let's watch some Die Hard, some Top Gun.
So here's the thing: is I'm never by myself. Usually, it's like I have 4 kids and. When I'm at home, I'm watching
Dora the Explorer,
the PJ Masks, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, this movie I thought was one of the situations that was really good, but I probably just won't like actively pursue. But you know, I want to watch that movie. It was really good. Also, maybe something negative on this. It's just a choice that the director made in editing the film. There's something that happens at the beginning while looking back at the film that I feel like it's supposed to be there. So you can like tie it to the end and be like, oh, that was a clue. But at the beginning, they kind of lingered on it too long. I was like, why are they doing that? Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is either it's a weird editing choice.
Yeah.
or this is a clue for something that's going to happen down the road. It ended up being a clue. So I was like, I wish they would have like not have lingered as long on
a
it.
little more subtle.
Right.
About, yeah.
Yeah. Just so that the surprise was like, oh, dang, that was a good twist.
Instead of being like, hey,
yeah.
hey,
look at this thing right here.
Yeah.
This is important because we're going to come back to it later.
Yeah.
So I think that would be it. Other than that, I really thought this movie was solid.
How much of it, the trailer, I mean, maybe that was just what they were doing with the trailer. The trailer made it look like basically the entire film takes place in this kid's room.
No.
Or in the house.
Okay. Not in the house. It goes all over.
Okay. Because that was the main issue that I had with it.
But it's still from the perspective of like the dad on his laptop. So you'll go all over, but via like a news broadcast from a YouTube live stream.
Okay.
And then that'll zoom in, and then you feel like you're there, and then you get pulled back, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on a computer. I forgot about that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So it makes it look like he's not. It gives you more scenes and settings.
It's
than just a bedroom.
So I saw the movie Unfriended, which I thought was okay, but that was the first movie that I've seen that was filmed all completely from a monitor.
Well, and that was a horror.
Right. So
this is more of a suspense.
Right. So that movie, that one doesn't really go anywhere. It's just you see the whole screen, and that's it.
Yeah. Which that one didn't make sense to me because it's like, who's watching this like thing of everybody doing all this stuff? Like it's almost like there was like a separate participant that's watching all these.
I didn't see the sequel to
the
it.
The movie didn't look very good to me.
Right.
Unfriended, not this one. Yeah.
Unfriended, I actually thought was okay. It's better than I thought it was going to be, but I went in with super low expectations.
Well, they're doing a sequel now.
There is a sequel. It's out already.
It's like Dark Web or something, right? Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but I will recommend this movie, and for people that like mysteries and it's a good drama and some of that stuff. And in the end, I'm kind of bouncing around what I wanted to give this movie because it's right on the cusp for me. But I'm gonna give it an 89%.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I really liked it.
That's really high, actually.
Yeah, it was. For a while, I was like, what should I do this thing? It's going to be either an 87, 88, or maybe 90? No, not a 90, but 89. It seems like the sweet spot for this movie for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Again, I probably, if it would have been one of those movies that was like really fun.
Yeah. And
like a fun, like thriller-ish mystery movie.
Yeah.
That would have pushed it over the top for me, and the rewatchability aspect of it being fun.
Gotcha.
It's not that though.
Okay. It's pretty much like
I'm good. I probably won't watch a movie.
I'm assuming we don't have to talk about it too much more, but I'm assuming it's pretty much just like an A plot, and that's kind of like and that
there's not a lot of like sub.
Once you get done with that A plot, it's kind of like then you're Which usually you need like 3 or 4 different plot lines and stories to really have a lot of rewatchability, generally.
But it was well done. I got to commend those guys. They did a great job. I didn't even say, I apologize too. I didn't even say who directed the movie. It's directed by Anish Shagyanti. And I thought it was done great.
Cool.
Well done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, then I will move into discussion of my film. Thank you, Matt, for sharing that review. We're talking about a film called Kin. Synopsis for this is: chased by a vengeful criminal, the feds, and a gang of otherworldly soldiers, a recently released ex-con and his adopted teenage brother are forced to go on the run with a weapon of mysterious origin as their only protection. It's directed by, I believe these guys are brothers, Jonathan Baker and Josh Baker.
Yeah, they are. I think they're twins. They look almost identical.
It's actually, I haven't seen it, but it's actually based on a short film.
Oh, really?
As far as I know. Yeah, I think about a kid that finds like a space weapon and lives in the urban areas of the city. And I think that's what it's about. That
seems like a Neil Blomkamp thing.
It does, yeah. But I haven't seen the short. I don't know for sure. If you have a link for that, send it over. I just haven't had a chance to look for it. It stars Jack Rayner, who was the guy we talked about earlier.
I like Jack Rayner.
Yeah, he's great. His name's Jimmy in this. Zoe Kravitz as Millie, who did a pretty good job. Carrie Coon as Morgan Hunter. Dennis Quaid, who's on a bit of a comeback streak, I'd actually say. He's kind of popping up in more and more stuff these days.
But it's like weird stuff to me. I feel like it's obscure stuff that he's popping up in.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been all over the place.
Like A Dog's Purpose or whatever, and like...
Yeah, I mean, he definitely hasn't been like in prominent roles in a lot of stuff, but he's been in a lot comparatively.
For sure.
You also have, what's his name? Kid's name? Miles Truitt as Eli Linsky. He's the main child. He's the main kid. It's kind of like his story and going through this. Michael B. Jordan is in there briefly. You also have James Franco.
Michael B. Jordan's in this?
Yes, Michael B. Jordan.
Wow.
He is what I would say probably the surprise of the film. A
Okay.
portion. There's some good. So there's some good and there's some bad to this film. I will also want to mention James Franco. He actually, out of all the characters in this, I think he's my favorite. And there's this thing going on with me right now with James Franco. I actually almost like him more as like a bad guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why, but there's just something about his like innate demeanor of being kind of like a stoner dude and being very like whatever about stuff that like makes him such an effective psychopath.
Except for like Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but because there he's kind of playing like an anti-hero, or not even an anti-hero, but he's torn between two sides. When he's just like straight up like himself, but he's also evil, it's just, it creates this weird imbalance to me.
Yeah.
Where he's like evil, but he's driven.
Yeah.
And it's like he comes across like this guy that has no drive.
Yeah.
But when he's like driven to be evil, it's weird.
Yeah.
And it's unnerving. And he does a really good job with it in this film. I think he's probably one of my favorite. I would also say Jack did a really good job in this as Jimmy. Zoe was surprisingly good as well. I think one of the big things about this film is that the acting is there. It doesn't feel phoned in at all.
Right.
Additionally, the cinematography style for this.
I thought that looked really good in the trailer. Even some of the visual effects looked really cool.
Yeah, they did some really effective stuff at times. There was some really cool kind of slow motion type stuff. There was some really cool kind of framing and like just creative shots of people, interacting with each other.
Yeah.
That they could have approached it as a very simple kind of like 1-2 shot and back and forth. But, they would do different things with different angles and put stuff in different areas. So I thought it was fun. I thought that was enjoyable.
That's cool.
And overall, I think I really appreciated that aspect of it. The other thing I would say about the film, and this is where it also gets into kind of negative territory for me, but I appreciate that they kind of tried to do something a little bit different with this.
Okay.
The story is, for the most part, it's a kind of a coming-of-age story. It's telling this kid Eli's story of living in this urban, very kind of downtrodden type world where, he's adopted. He doesn't know anything about his family really for the most part. He lives with this other family who they treat him well, but, they're not rich by any stretch of means, and they work really hard, and he's kind of been making some bad choices in school, and the story is much as anything, it's very much his story of coming of age and finding his place in the world. And Kin is kind of referring to some elements of the story that I can't explain without spoiling.
Sure. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but
I kind of want to check it out still because it's like sci-fi and I like that.
But that also kind of took it into bad territory. I think if they had just kind of made it this straightforward story of this kid coming of age, discovering this weird gun, and then sort of being on the run with his brother after all this stuff goes down.
Sure.
I would have been satisfied.
Okay.
But at the very kind of tail end of the film, and I don't want to spoil it, but they tiptoe into some territory where it goes into kind of like odd, like otherworldliness.
Okay.
And it seems like it could be fun and cool, but the movie was done in such a way that it really effectively is just kind of like about this grounded story. Like, yeah, there's this future sci-fi space gun thing,
right?
But it's very grounded visually. It's very grounded humanly in the way that people are interacting with each other and the drama and the tension. And so when it breaks into, in the very last act, this otherworldly side of everything, you're just kind of left going like,
it was
what?
Yeah, it was jarring a little bit.
Very jarring.
Yeah.
And it had a purpose in the story, so it wasn't like it didn't serve any function. But it just felt too out there. It just felt way too like extreme. And so I think I made the point, and this is what I would say, like, I appreciate them taking chances with that and trying to do something instead of just making this stereotypical, straightforward, kid finding himself kind of thing.
Right.
Because they legitimately could have taken this story, cut out all the space gun stuff with the sci-fi and everything like that, and had a very interesting story. Mm-hmm. And I think that side of it shines. The drama, the tension. I hope these guys kind of do that. I hope that they'll go and they'll make another movie that's almost more just like the drama with the suspense.
Maybe this will be a vehicle for them to do.
I hope so. And it's getting much better fan reception than it is getting critical reception. It's getting really bad critical reception.
I saw that.
Yeah. But I think 99% of the critiques are based upon that sci-fi late act story twist element, because it just comes so like, what?
It's a sequel to E.T., isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. E.T.'s phoning home.
Dang it.
Through weapons.
I knew that was going to happen.
He's coming back with vengeance, folks. No. But yeah, so that's that's pretty much all I'd have to say about it. I think it's a fun film. Not fun. It's an interesting film.
Okay.
And I'd say up until the last act, I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I probably would have given it a much higher rating if not for that. I don't feel like it's worthy or deserving in a sense of such negative.
Right.
Because like people
It's
like
a
not gonna-
33%, right?
Yeah, they're giving it like C and D ranking because of the late act twist, and it almost felt like maybe it's a bad choice, but the whole movie was. I'd sit down and I'd watch it again. You know what I
cool.
mean? So I'm giving the film an 81.
Nice.
Yeah, which
that's cool.
that might be one of my more controversial ones of the year.
Guys, this is a big deal.
It's such a
This
big
is
deal.
a big deal, you guys.
Eh.
That's probably you're probably more in line of thinking of like how I would almost into a movie.
Yeah, there's and we don't talk about this too much, but there's certain things that we talk about what you like, I think, in cinema, and I talk about a little bit what I like. I mean, the fish out of water stories are always big for me.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really can appreciate is good cinematography.
Yeah.
And it really felt like they did their
That's
their
cool.
due diligence. They really took the time to try and create something visually that had cool styles to it. It literally was just all of the sci-fi stuff. Like even the sci-fi people things that are like
Sci-fi
pursuing them.
people.
Like I'm trying to not spoil
Otherworldly.
who or what they are.
That's what it says in the synopsis.
Yeah.
It's otherworldly.
Their whole like look just felt very cheap. Like
Okay.
it looked like they went to like, some prop store and just bought like
they spent
fake
all
armor.
their money on other visual effects.
Yeah, well the gun was cool, but
Yeah.
like them, it looked like they were just wearing like leather outfits with like some stuff on
The
them.
gun did look sweet. It had the like
Yeah.
projections of like the stuff that would come up on top of it in the
Yeah.
trailers. That looked really cool.
Yeah, and there's like it's not heart wrenching, but there's definitely some like kind of emotional moments and like kind of like it felt weird, and that was the thing. The late twist almost felt like they were setting it up for this like sequel of sorts,
Right.
And you're just like, huh?
If it happened to be
Yeah, the best that I could kind of compare it to is The Last Starfighter, without like spoiling it.
I've never seen The Last
But The Last
Starfighter.
Starfighter really built up well towards that, and it gave the right amount of time to kind of play out that third act story of sorts. Whereas this one, it kind of just felt like they were just like, yeah, we got to do something with this. Go for it,
Huh?
because films and stuff. So yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Cool. Well,
I wanna see it now.
Yeah, I'd definitely check
I'd
it
probably
out.
give it like 102% or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, I think you'd be similar with what mine is. I'm actually interested in seeing Searching now, though, after your description.
Yeah,
of
I
it,
really
so.
like Searching. It's good stuff.
Yeah, we are, and I will say this: we're wrapping things up on the podcast here. We are planning on doing a tube talk at
In
some
the
point.
future.
In the future, Matt's catching up on some shows, and
Yeah.
I'm falling behind, but trying to stay caught up on some shows. I've gone through a couple different HBO shows now.
Okay.
That we could definitely talk about. So there's plenty there.
Nice.
And I think Ozark season 2 just popped out.
I still haven't finished season 1.
Yeah, so we'll have plenty to talk
That
about.
show's
at some point
dark.
soon. I keep, yeah,
It's a
pretty
dark
yeah.
show.
I just keep like teasing that we're gonna do this tube talk. And
Ooh.
we never do it. Yeah, and our fans are demanding it.
They
so
are demanding it.
yeah.
I'm getting emails every 30 seconds.
I'm gonna wait for
Stop.
the next one. And yeah, cool. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up on the podcast. Again, some ways to get connected. Before we do, realreviewmedia.com. As always, we also have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia. We also have Instagram and Twitter, which are both at Real Review Media. Matt, you just published some stuff this day
about Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. So
Yeah.
people check that out. And then we'd love to hear your thoughts and perspectives. Send us an email, realreviewmedia@gmail.com.
Do it.
Right. Anything else, Matt?
You're gonna come with me to see The Nun this weekend?
I think I'm going to pass.
Okay.
gonna be
No, I have nothing else.
It's going to be a
Joel.
hard pass. Cool. Well then, it's been real.
It's been real.